Hey everyone, welcome here. My name's Justin. I'm one of the youth associates here at Village Church, and I'm also your host for this series that we're in called 4 Big Questions. We're on episode 3, and so far what we've already answered questions to are topics like addiction and mental health. And this episode, we're going to be hearing from my friend John as he unpacks all sorts of questions about the topic of social media. And I love this because I think this is a super relevant conversation that we get to have because we all have social media stuff on our phones or whatever. Like I'm always on Instagram and TikTok, so I have a lot to learn. And sometimes I even wonder, does Jesus and the Bible have anything relevant to offer to this conversation? So this is gonna be really helpful, but before we jump in, why don't you turn to the people next to you, or if you're somebody watching this on your own, think about this question and talk to somebody you trust later. Question is this: what are the positives and negatives of social media?
Hey, I'm John. I work here at Village Church in the discipleship department, and I'm also a content creator on Instagram. And I'm here going to talk to you a little bit about social media today. How much time do you spend on social media a day? Think about YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, BeReal, Facebook, etc., all combined. Now, if you have an Apple device, you can easily find out by going into settings and looking under screen time. Now, without looking, I want you to take a guess at how much time you think you spend on social media. Did you know that 47% of teens spend on average 2 to 4 hours per day on social media? And 38% spend more than 4 hours per day. Compare that with adults, where 53% use 2 hours or less. I took a look at how much time I spend on social media, and it's a little eye-opening when you see it written out. Now, I'll get real with you. I spend, on average, 16 hours a week on social media platforms. That works out to almost 2.5 hours per day. I spend almost a whole day a month on TikTok. And I'm sure you are in the same boat. The average teenager in North America spends 1 to 2 days per month on just TikTok alone. I'm not sure what your social media screen time looks like, but I'm sure that most of you are either on social media or will be at some point in your life. I want to be the first to say, I don't think that social media is wrong, bad, or evil in and of itself, although you need to respect any boundaries your parents have put in place. This isn't going to be me telling you to delete all your social media accounts. What I hope you will be able to answer by the end of this talk is, am I the same person online that I am in real life? A guy named Paul in the Bible wrote a letter to the church in the city of Rome. In the letter, he gave instructions on how those of us who are followers of Jesus should act and live. He writes in Romans 12, "So here's what I want you to do, God helping you. Take your everyday, ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work, walking around life, and place it before God as an offering." Paul introduces us to thinking about all parts of your life as something you can honor God with. Whether you're at school, youth or church, with your parents, hanging out with friends, or in your room alone posting on social media. Live your way in a life that honors God and what He means to you. We are called to honor and worship God with all we are, not a filtered version of ourselves. Paul continues in verse 2, "Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God and you'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity. God brings out the best of you and develops well-formed maturity in you." Paul here talks about how the culture around us will act differently. Just because people around you use social media in a certain way doesn't mean that's how you should be using it. God wants something better for you. Okay, so God wants something better for me. He wants me to act different than culture. But what does that look like? Well, Paul actually gives us a taste of what that looks like at the end of Romans chapter 12. And I think these are great values to hold up to how we are using social media. He says, "Love from the center of who you are. Don't fake it. Run for dear life from evil. Hold on for dear life for good. Be good friends who love deeply. Bless your enemies. No cursing under your breath. Get along with each other. Don't be stuck up. Make friends with nobodies. Don't be the great somebody. Don't hit back. Discover beauty in everyone. The point here is who we are on social media should be consistent with our values. And if you are a follower of Jesus, who you are on social media should be consistent with that. Well, Paul gave us that great list in Romans on how we should be acting. Don't fake it. Be good friends who love deeply. Discover beauty in everyone. But I'll be honest with you, that's a hard list of things to try to live up to all the time, especially on our own. Like I said at the beginning, social media itself isn't wrong. Most people enjoy being on social media, growing their followers, being inspired, and connecting with others. It can be a lot of fun until it isn't. There can be deceptive posts, messages, conflicts, cyberbullying, and mental health issues. When asked, 41% of teens said social media was creating feelings of sadness, anxiety, or depression, or even inciting an insecure feeling. Maybe social media has left you feeling excluded, or like you needed to change who you are to fit in. We can make social media a positive place to be a part of, in part by choosing to have integrity and being ourselves online. That is so much harder to do when you're on your own and is much easier to do when you have the support of each other and Jesus. We should be offering support and accountability to each other in our interactions on social media. Could we agree to support each other, to agree as friends to be true to who you are online, to come alongside those who are hurting or struggling, to stand up for those around you, to invite people into what you are doing rather than trying to make people jealous? Maybe your small group or your group of friends needs to agree to call each other out when they see you not being yourself online. Can you use social media with integrity? One of the ways to evaluate the integrity of your social media use is to ask yourself if you have ever become a different person when you interact through a screen, or am I the same person online that I am in real life? I know it's so easy to pretend to be something you aren't on social media, but you need to remember, if you're on social media, you're telling a story. So what story are you telling? As followers of Jesus, we are called to honor God with all of our life, not just when we are at church. There are no exceptions, no compartments of life that are exempt. The Christian life should be marked by consistency in our actions, our thoughts, our speech, and in our social media posts. The support of others and Jesus can help you stay the course. So how do you move forward? How do you live with integrity online? Just remember to think. Think before you post, whether it's an Instagram post, a TikTok video, or a snap. Does this line up with who I am and who I want to be? Think before you give a like or a follow. Who you follow and what you like on social media is a reflection of who you are and what you value. And 3, think before you comment or message. Is the message you are sending one that builds up or tears down? If you think about those 3 things when you're acting online, you'll be able to live with integrity and be able to honestly answer the question, am I the same person on social media that I am in real life? Thank you so much for joining us today.
That was so good. It was really helpful for me to think about my use of social media through the lens that John provided. Integrity. Am I the same person online that I am in real life? I hope this episode was as helpful for you as it was for me. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna jump into our small groups and have a further conversation about this topic. But if you're somebody watching this on your own, I would encourage you to think about what was just said and maybe talk about it with somebody you trust later. That's all for this episode. We will see you guys next time.